Cue intro. Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on The Supernatural Show, the show that is not intended for entertainment purposes. And the show also is not intended for fear-mongering purposes. Although you might think by the title of the video today. I mean, you have to decide to put some kind of title when you're going to talk about some fantasy stuff that NASA and the European Space Agency and JPL are talking about, rocks falling out of the skies. And so, yeah, we're going to be talking about that kind of thing today and look at a couple of specific rocks that, one specifically they found 3 days ago, they claim. And it's about the size of a big bus. Or twice that size, depending on their estimates in their fantasy world of space. But there's a reason why they created all of these fantasy things, including NASA and all these things. There are many reasons. One of them, I believe, is a coming deception, and that is probably multi-layered. Today, we're going to talk about part of it, and that is the meteor side of things, you might say. But first, let's recognize who's here. I know Super Dave's here because he was the first to comment. Super Dave was on the ball. And I know Super Mike is here also. And they are our super moderators, and we're grateful to have them here with us on a very dependable basis. Amazing. And it looks like Miss Roxy Piles herself is here, but she's fighting traffic for an airport drop-off, apparently. But she's in the chat, as you can see, if you're looking at the chat. And you're on the right channel. So hello to Miss Roxy out there. We've also got Shannon here with us today with the Children of the Most High YouTube channel. What's happening, Shannon? Or should I say, what in the supernatural is going on with you? Oh, okay. Well, on Saturday? Okay. Well, we do want to hear your supernatural stories. As a matter of fact, we want to hear Shannon's when she decides to share it here during the show today. But we also want to hear y'all guys' stories, okay? And there's a couple of ways you can do it. One is all you got to do is email tellmystory@TheSupernatural.Show. You email that into there, and we will read it on a live show. And we're not concerned with you sounding crazy, okay? We already, this is the Supernatural Show. We already sound, as Roxy would say, cray-cray. And so don't worry about it. The rest of the world thinks we're crazy already. So just tell your story. Whatever's happened to you, it could be one thing, could be a number of things. But we're asking that you email us and share your story with us. You can also go on the website itself as well and share your story on there. And you can do that simply by going to TheSupernatural.Show. And then right here under TSS, that means The Supernatural Show, an acronym, the TSS submissions, and click on Submit Story right there. And will allow you to submit your story. Okay? So you can do that, or you can just email it. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. I know what's going on. And I didn't. Okay. All right. Hang on just a second. Thank you, Super Dave. Let me get Shannon's new link. and I know she believes that she is doing exactly what I asked her to do. She did. Yes. What it is that you've got what you have bookmarked is it's kind of hard to explain, but it's the original link.
This is the one that I bookmarked, and you yelled at me on the show, and that's the one that I bookmarked for sure and titled it that. So unless it got changed, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Hang on just a second. I see a little technical difficulty that we've got going here. That green behind Miss Kim's image tells me her camera might be on or something. Let me check. I'll be right back.
Okay. I don't know if you can hear me now, guys, but hey, what's up?
I don't know why it's still showing green though. Okay.
I can be heard now. Thank you for confirming.
You can be heard. And Shannon was telling us she's going to share with us what in the Supernatural's been going on with her here in a little bit. I'm looking at Miss Kim here to see why it's showing green behind her picture, because that don't make no sense. It's just showing a green background. Yeah, see, I can move that and you can see green background. Yet if I turn her off, it doesn't change it. That is just strange. We're going to have to just deal with it today, I reckon.
That's okay. It just highlights her beautiful avatar.
Yeah, it does. Exactly. All right.
You're so very welcome.
Let me make a little bit of adjustment here. All right. And I can make that kind of go away. There we go. All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties. But now let's get to where we're going. And where are we going? Let me share my screen again here. And there's that green box again. Now it's behind you.
Nice. I'll take it, I guess.
Don't make no sense. Let me make that little adjustment. And it's kind of gone. Anyways, here you can see our screen now. And so about a week ago, I was sharing some things in the team chat. You might say a private team chat where we communicate with everybody that's working with us, like with Super Dave, Super Mike, and also Tracy and Jesse, some new members that are coming on. And anyways, I shared something that came out of the book, The Testament of Solomon. It's a book that was not included in the Bible by the Catholic Church. They would not canonize it, I guess you'd say. And so they left it out, although the Ethiopian Bible has it in there. And some other Bibles have it in there as well. But I was noticing some things about it. I'm going to read it here in just a minute about what it says. But first, I woke up this morning thinking about, for whatever crazy reason, meteors, right? So I just went to look and see if there was any news or any, should we say propaganda about meteors. And I ran a search, and this is what you see when you run a search. Screen goes dark, and 3 meteors go by. Make it do it again. 1, 2, 3 meteors on Google, just a regular Google search. And you get these meteors. And of course, that reminded me of this scene out of I Pet Goat, which depicts meteors, particularly one that comes in and strikes the pyramid that you see there. And the pyramid crumbles, and then the next pyramid crumbles, and then the next one, and there's several other meteors. Now, why would I be caring about an animation? Well, a lot of you here know why, because this animation was put together by some people in the know of the plans of the ones in this world. And it depicts like George W. Bush in it. It depicts Obama. And it depicts a lot of things that have already happened, such as this scene right here. This is just one. You see that the basilica back there behind this character, this Antichrist character. And you notice that it crumbles. And you may remember one just a few years ago, it burned and the steeple fell, just like that. And I could go through the whole thing, and I have went through and decoded 85 to 90% of this entire thing and explained what most everything means. But this ending scene depicts this destruction, a comic asteroids, a rock, as they would claim, falling out of the heavens, coming in and hitting the pyramid. And then, so this made me think of that, And me and Shannon, we tried to pull up and see how many other things. What were some of the other things that would cause an animation, Shannon? Is my co-host there? My co-host might not be there.
I'm here. Okay. I tried looking up everything I could think of. Snow falling, lightning, sparkles, rain, flood. Stars, planets. Yeah, I tried everything. The only things that put up that animation was meteor or shooting star, which is the same thing.
Let me do shooting star.
And even it says in the overview here that a meteor is a shooting star. So it's the same exact thing. Okay. But that's the only things that showed up any kind of animation that I could think of. I mean, if you guys can think of anything else we could try, let's go. But those were all the things.
We spent a little bit of time and we couldn't. We did find that supposedly when you type in maybe like happy birthday, let's try like happy birthday and see what it says or see what it does. Happy birthday. There are a couple of things. No animation.
Yep.
Nope. But meteor animation. And I'm sure there's somebody listening that would say, well, you're making a big deal out of the fact that there's a animation on when you type in meteor. It's because these people don't do anything that's going to be seen by the entire world when you type in like meteor. They don't do anything that doesn't have a purpose. Maybe a purpose that we can't identify or understand, but there is a purpose. You probably remember too, back, we're going to look at meteor and shooting star as it relates to, let's see, where's it at? The Testament of Solomon, book that got left out. And we're going to read, it's verse 113 and reading before it helps and reading it after it helps. And there's some really amazing stuff in this book. And I had never read the whole thing. And once I started reading, I couldn't help myself. I've read a lot of it. I got a little bit more to read. Like in this book, it talks about how demons, demons are said supposedly to be the spirits of the Nephilim, the children that were made when the fallen angels went into women, and they bear children. And the Nephilim were born, and then when they died, their spirits remained on earth. They're not allowed to ascend. And supposedly Solomon, and I've heard this for many, many years, Solomon had control of the demons, and he used them to mine for gold and to do all kinds of things. And one of the things in here it says is Solomon had a stone it was a cornerstone, and he wanted it placed in a specific spot. And it was massive that all of his men together could not move it. And he got one of the demons that had the ability, think about this is a spirit of a giant. So, and this demon is said to have had the ability to move extremely heavy objects. And so he had this demon. He went and kind of captured the demon, brought him in, and commanded him to move the stone. And the demon lifted the stone and placed it where he wanted him to put it. And so I'm not saying that's how for sure, that some of the heavy stones that we see, like in Egypt and all these places, that they use demons. But if there's any truth to it, if there is, it would answer how a lot of those giant stones got put in place that don't make any sense. But we're not here for that today. We're going to read this right here out of the Testament of Solomon. And let's see, where do I really want to start at? I guess I could start right there. Let me put the link to this in the chat in case anybody wants to pull it up and save it and maybe check it out. There it goes in the chat. All right. So it's verse. You have to go way down towards the bottom of that document, and you'll start seeing all the verses, because in the beginning it's a bunch of explanation about the book and all this kind of stuff. But you go further down and you'll find the text. And anyways, it says, "And when we were gone, I ordered Ornias." Now, Ornias is supposedly a demon, and his name was given to him or whatever, or his name he claimed was Ornias. And he says, "I ordered Ornias to be brought forward and said to him, 'Tell me how you know this.' And he answered, 'We demons ascend into the firmament of heaven and fly about among the stars. And we hear the sentences which go forth upon the souls of men. And forthwith we come, and whether by force of influence, or by fire, or by sword, or by some accident, we veil our act of destruction. And if a man does not die by some untimely disaster or by violence, then we demons transform ourselves in such a way as to appear to men and be worshipped in our human nature,'" meaning they're wanting to be worshipped. You ever heard the saying, "Wish upon a shooting star"?
Mm-hmm. There's many songs about that.
And the next verse explains it more. Okay, this is 114. It says, "I, therefore, having heard this, glorified the Lord God, and again I questioned the demons, saying, 'Tell me how ye can ascend into heaven, being demons, and amidst the stars and holy angels intermingle.' And of course, I'm sure many of you have heard me say, stars are angels. They sit on nodal points and they sing, creating a frequency that holds this realm that we experience our lives in place." Okay, so, "And amidst the stars and holy angels intermingle. And he answered, Just as things are fulfilled in heaven, so also on earth are fulfilled the types of all of them," which I've stated something very close to that numerous times here on the show, that the way things work in heaven is similar to the way things work on earth, and also even so in our bodies. Okay, we're in the same image. Go ahead, Shannon.
This is kind of where my supernatural story kind of falls into place. After this passage is kind of where I wanted to mention this.
Okay.
Because, in the last several months, Roxy and I have gone down the whole rabbit hole, of course, of the gateway stuff and, how they messed with our abilities and things along those lines. And in part of that, there's a whole section of the clairs, the clairvoyant, clairaudient, and there's another one that I can't remember, but this is kind of where it plays in. To me, it is the Holy Spirit telling me that, to pay attention to this thing. But there are moments where I just know things, where things just start, just enter into my being, and I just know. Just kind of how you were this morning when you woke up and was like, I have meteors on the mind for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've learned to listen to it.
Right? So the other day, I had to go out to LA, not for my usual thing. It was a last minute thing, had to go. But before I went, my husband and I ended up watching this movie about paradise, right? And how that happened, the fires and all of that.
Paradise, California.
Yeah, Paradise, California.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a very powerful movie if you guys ever get a chance to watch it.
It's a movie about paradise?
Yeah, about one of the true stories that had happened in the midst of all of this. But it's a good movie. Anyways, so I'm watching this. I end up going and I'm, to LA afterwards, and in my spirit, I felt something so intense to just pay attention around me that I was going to be a witness to something. I thought maybe that day because it was just so intense, but it isn't that day. I felt in my spirit it could be something, but I'm supposed to witness some kind of insane fire, explosion, something along those lines. And in the entire way there, I saw about 5 billboards that was talking about fires. I saw just all kinds of things. There were the things I was listening to on the way out of nowhere. When I would see the visual, would literally say explosion or blow up or fire. And it stuck with me all day, and it just kept continuing and continuing. And, the last several days, nothing has really happened, but I've still had this feeling, this knowing that something was going to that I was going to witness something like this, but that I was going to be okay. Well, when you brought up earlier, before we even went on air, that passage and how, these demons fall and to man look like, meteors or shooting stars or whatever the words that they used in that.
We'll read the rest of it here in a minute.
But it could cause things to, catch on fire.
Set cities aflame.
Set cities aflame. I literally was a big giant goosebump when we read that. And so I wanted to save it for being live, so I didn't mention it to you then. But I feel like that is exactly what God has been putting on my heart. Like, you're going to be a witness to one of these things going down and taking out something.
You're probably in the right location to witness.
So that is what my supernatural experience was. I shared it. It's good. Okay.
Well, you're in the right location because what do you think one of these pyramids likely represents? It could represent media, right? Could represent LA, LA, New York, maybe another place. Maybe there's a place overseas. But I do know that they have built and created New York City to be as Babylon. There's even a Babylon on Manhattan. It's called Babylon. And you can just Google Babylon. What is it? Long Island. It's on Long Island, excuse me. And so Babylon, New York.
If you think about it, right, biblically speaking, in Revelations, it says that in the end times would be like the times of Noah and the times of Lot. Well, I think of New York and LA or San Francisco on the two ends of the eastern and western spectrums are like Sodom and Gomorrah.
Absolutely.
To me, that's like what they represent. And so if it's about, the times of Lot, times of Noah, we're here, man. And I live about 100 miles away,
you might
maybe
be
less.
Just outside of the blast zone.
Yep.
That's why I say you might be in a good place to witness it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it was very obvious that God said, "You're okay. You're gonna be okay. You are just going to witness this, is what I felt. And it's just, yeah. So this conversation is right in there.
All right, so let's read I'll start the verse over and we'll read on down through it this time. This is the 114. So we read 113 up here. And then this is 114. I therefore, having heard this, glorify the Lord God. And again, I questioned the demon, saying, tell me how ye can ascend into heaven, being demons, and amidst the stars and holy angels intermingle. And he answered, just as things are fulfilled in heaven, so also on earth are fulfilled the types of all of them. For there are principalities, authorities, world rulers, and we demons fly about in the air, and we hear the voices of the heavenly beings and survey all the powers. And as having no ground or basis on which to alight and rest, we lose strength and fall off like leaves from trees. The men seeing us imagine that the stars are falling from heaven, but it is not really so, O king. But we fall because of our weakness and because we have nowhere anything to lay hold of. And so we fall down like lightnings in the depth of the night and suddenly, and we set cities in flames and fire the fields. For the stars have firm foundations in the heaven, like the sun and moon. So this is something that just happened, ended up coming into my realm of things I was looking at, and I'd been wanting to read the Testament of Solomon. And so this particular part popped up, and I started looking into it, and I'm like, it's interesting because I've said, like they talk about the shooting stars and these things, and I've said many times, that's not rocks, I've seen literal angels streak. And when they streak, they look like, depending on how close you are to them, if you were far enough away, they would just look like what we would call a shooting star, okay? Or a shooting angel. Because the word star, it means angel. It is what it is. And I personally have the experience to know this. And so it's interesting to think that, okay, so it's demons that are these little shooting stars that we see shooting around. But you say, well, how does that work exactly? Well, see, they are the spirit, the essence of the fallen Nephilim. Okay. And the Nephilim, of course, were half angel, half man. Okay. And the angels, of course, I have seen personally do things like streak through the skies, and even one across my head above me, about 25 foot above me, standing at the beach. Went there to see angels. I would do that quite often with Miss Kim here. I'd say, let's go to the beach and see angels. Okay. And the reason why she'd say okay is because they come. And they are bright white. They'll come out. You'll start seeing some sparks out above the water, like little sparks. And then all of a sudden, if they choose to, they will appear, sometimes closer than others, but they will appear. When me and Miss Kim were out there, they were just out about basically just past where the waves are turning. And they will appear, and they're as big as a Volkswagen. They're round all about. They're a ball of light. And you can see the energy whirling in them, literally whirling in them, like similar in a way to many things work, like a hurricane, a supercell thunderstorm. It's a torus is ultimately what it is, and that energy is whirling in them. But the one night I was standing there, and Shannon's heard this a dozen times, but I was looking up and looking out over the water, and then I kind of looked up again, and from behind me, one shot across me out over the ocean, streaking, but it was close. It was like 25 feet away. And all these like sparks come floating down around me. And it was like pixie dust. And of course, that would remind us of like, what's her name? Tinkerbell, right? And the sparks that she leaves when she flies, right? And that's their mockery, of course, of the angels. But then again, maybe they were depicting a demon as well, being Tinkerbell, because, well, that's how they roll. I didn't make it up. That's just what they do. So let's see here. Okay, so we have Google depicting it. We have iPet Goat predicting it. We have The Simpsons also has something like this, where there's a comet or a star or something falling out of the sky, and this kind of thing. Of course, The Simpsons, they love putting their plans in The Simpsons. See here, it says Springfield Comet, and they love depicting these kind of things. And of course, it's depicted as well in like films, many of which we've all heard of, like The Fifth Wave, Armageddon, Asteroid, Before the Fall, Meteor Apocalypse, Judgment Day, all these different movies, of course, listed here, for instance. And then you got songs written about it. You've got comic books and, animated stuff about it as well. And when we were talking before the show, because we're normally in an area called Beyond the Veil before the show. It's a place where we're getting ready to do the live show. It's called the Beyond the Veil pre-show area. It's on the website, on the TheSupernatural.Show site. And you can go there and actually hang out with us prior to us going live. It's not as constant flow like we are here doing a show, because we might take a break and go away for 10 minutes and come back and finish getting ready and stuff like that. But y'all guys are welcome to go prior to the show, normally about, I would say you'd be safe to go there 30 minutes before you think we're going live, and we'll be there getting ready to go live. And you can see us and hear us just like you are right now. It's no difference. And you don't have to be, put it this way, it's a completely free area to go see, which is the Beyond the Veil pre-show. But when we were in there, you were relating this to the whole nuclear thing. What were your thoughts on that again?
So I've heard a lot of different, things from experts over the years about the explosive devices that everyone in the world is scared of and that gets threatened all the time.
They had us get under desks when we were 6 years old.
And a lot of the conflicting things I've heard from different experts are that this might be more of a fear-mongering tactic than being real, as the destruction that they explain that it causes. Not to say that we haven't had experience in the past with this type of thing and what they say that is, but again, there's just conflicting stuff. And my thoughts were, what if this wormwood that is mentioned in the Bible and right, and this thing that we are told are meteors, but are really in biblical speak are more like these stars, these demonic ones that do not have the full capabilities of the full-on angels.
Now here's this, Shannon. It says, and the name of the star, meaning an angel, it says, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star, meaning an angel, from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, which I've seen the angels. Remember during the eclipse, the angels, the videos that some people took, and I probably maybe even have it in the studio here, but where it looked like a ball of flame that was floating in the sky. Remember that?
I sure do.
And it looked literally like flame,
Mm-hmm.
was floating there. And it says, burning as if it were a lamp, and it fell upon a third part of the rivers in a pond of fountain. So like it's something come in and that maybe it explodes and then affects the waters and things. But it's interesting that they're calling it like it's an angel coming in and doing this. Anyways, go ahead.
Right. But see, that's just kind of the thing, right? All these elites are getting all these bunkers ready. There was that time that what's his face went up supposedly into space on the Amazon rocket that looked very phallic-y, and he
Amazon dude, right?
Yeah, but not him, but the actor who played Kirk, Captain Kirk.
Oh, yeah.
Can't I think of his name?
Yeah.
That guy.
That guy. I know.
That guy.
We know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Shatner. William Shatner.
There you go.
Yeah. So he had mentioned something when he went up there about, and he was very emotional about it, but he had mentioned that he didn't appreciate the earth, like where there's life, because when you get outside of that earth into space, supposed space, that it's so desolate and dark and lonely, but all the life is on the earth, and that he was sad knowing what's coming. He mentions that.
Yeah, I remember.
And I just feel like they all know that Wormwood is approaching. They all know this is going to happen, but what excuse are they going to give us? Could it be possibly, the mushroom cloud thing that we hear about? I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's hard to tell exactly because they're definitely like hinting at it, repeatedly. Right. At moments when they know that the majority of people are watching, and paying attention.
And in that passage, it talks a lot about the third of the waters being bitter, a third of, the ocean life, basically a third of this, a third of that. It takes a third of the stars.
8:12 says, and a fourth angel sounded, and a third part of the sun was smitten. And a third part of the moon, and a third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise.
And how many of the meteors did you see on that animation?
3.
3.
Yep, 3 on there.
This is code. It's code. Yeah, it's telling you.
And then they had the 3 pillars that Trump's plan for that had to do with AI and all this stuff. Had 3 pillars. It was the 3 pillars of their plan, literally called pillars. And there's a lot of 3s been popping up.
Yep. And yes, Truth Co-op Diana, Wormwood, detox from parasites, maybe. Maybe God is detoxing some parasites. It's a thought.
Maybe Wormwood, detox from parasites. Well, we definitely all need to be doing that in one form or another. Try to find the most natural way that you can to do it. And there are some other ways that we've talked about before and others. And some of us have used and it actually knocked out some parasites, let me tell you.
Oh my goodness. I was just telling Daniel beforehand, it took me 5 months to lose 45 pounds. And that's literally just mainly because of detoxing. That's insane.
You act like that's a long time to lose 45 pounds for a little
No,
lady like
it's a very short period of time. That's a short period of time.
She took some stuff to get rid of all the parasites in her body, and she stopped craving junk food, basically, right?
Yep. Basically. I still, have hormonal issues and eat chocolate on occasion, okay? But I don't have the cravings like more. And even when I try to eat something, Yeah, when I try to eat something like that, I don't like it. It's all, ew, this is gross. Why did I like this?
Right. There's another verse in the Bible too that talks about, a stone. It says, it's Revelation 18:21. It says, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down. And of course, there were, in the I Pet Goat thing, there's 3 pyramids that get cast down, they get destroyed. And a fire coming from the direction, kind of like coming from the sun, struck one of them, and all 3 of them fell. Of course, if they struck, you think about the power of man, of the beast system and everything. And if you were to take out the right one, the other 2 would fall, And no, we're not trying to scare everybody, but we've been assigned to watch, okay? And this is the Supernatural Show, so we do talk about these kind of things. And it's not always heavy like this, but it is sometimes. What we're supposed to do is realize that we are not of this world. And yeah, we all must die one day. Nobody's ready to go tomorrow necessarily. But we're not supposed to be afraid. We're supposed to be aware, and we're supposed to watch, and we're supposed to treat our neighbors and love our neighbors like we love ourselves. And hopefully you love yourself. All right, let's see. I think let's see, what else did I have? I had the Trump thing up here where he was interviewed by Playboy magazine way back. It was in 1988, I think it was. And he talked about, they asked him, what would be some of President Trump's longer term views of the future? And he said, I think of the future, but I refuse to paint it. Anything can happen, but I often think of nuclear war. And I do wonder sometimes how this is going to play out when they do this thing that comes from above and destroys a major city, or maybe multiple. They're going to be saying, it was this, it was that, it was this, it was that, just like they were doing with the, the planned demonic that just happened over the last 5 years, right? It's still going on because some people are still involved in it.
Didn't you also connect comets and things alongside with pandemics? Just wanted to remind you of that connection.
Yeah, there was what it is about 4 months ago or something, we were looking at the comments over here. Go get this. We were looking at the comments as they put in their animation made up imagery showing where the comets are at, in the heavens and stuff, even right now. Like you can see the ones here, okay? And we were researching each one, and one of them was said, and I'm trying to remember which one it was. If I can get the screen to move, looking for it. I think it was this one, Speed 2025 K1. But we were researching the different comments that they claim are up there, and I don't believe at all they are what they say. And I've explained before in depth what I believe comments really are. It's no different than someone saying a falling star is a little rock compared to what I read in the Testament of Solomon, it being a demon streaking through the sky. Okay, it's similar to that. And of course, all of you know in the intro, I have that comet coming down with all the stars, aka deities of some kind, following it down, because stars don't move with the comet. The comet has its own independent path, or at least it's supposed to. And well, anyways, we were researching these comets, and one of them said that the Earth would pass through that comet's tail and path right after the comet had went through. It said the Earth would pass through that debris field, this imaginary debris field. And I thought right then, I said, oh, here comes that. They're them claiming that there's the dust off of the comet is killing people. Another kind of a different type of a invisible enemy kind of thing, the plan demonic that we just went through. But this one would be said to have come from the dust off of a comet that passed. This comet K1. I think that was the one. And I could go back and try to hunt it down and see if it said it. See if it still says it, but I remember it said, and it was the timing that it had on it was the end of November going into December is when we were supposed to pass through this comet debris field, right? And
so,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
And I'm just thinking, it's an awful interesting coinkadink, And then we've got, and specifically, I wanted to show. Let me see, where's it at? I think it's right here.
So as we're having this conversation, I am reminded, not just reminded, it's the big goosebump thing again. I just heard in my spirit, remember that dream you had? And so I actually had written out this dream asking a friend of mine, this was several years ago, like what this could possibly mean, as I'm trying to also ask God, but it's like now I'm getting clarity, and I just wanted to share this with you because I have it written out. And it's the way I start this out is like, I only remember one part, but it repeated 3 times. Okay. This sequence repeated 3 times in a row, which I've never had that in a dream ever in my life. This is the only time that's ever happened. And what I saw was a big giant stone ball, similar to the one in Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom, except the size was enormous. And it was sealed in darkness. Then there was something that happened like a sound. Remember how you talk about the keys and the frequency it being like a sound?
Yes.
So then, sorry, I lost it. So then there was something like that. Oh, sorry, I lost it.
3 times, and you've seen a
3
big
times.
ball.
Then there was something that happened like a sound or a series of buttons, or maybe all of the above that went off. And this ancient ball began descending from great heights and fell into an ancient landmass that almost looked like a figure 8, except there was only a part of it that had the circle at the top of the 8. Although it was like a sideways, more like an infinity symbol, but it was a landmass. And only one side where the ball dropped had an actual hole, and it descended even further down, so far and so deep into the darkness. And then terror and fear enveloped me as I knew it was heading for the pit, like the abyss. And it was a key of some sort to unlocking the pit. I cried out and asked, "What is this?" And instead of an explanation, it repeated 2 more times. The fear didn't last long in me, but it was enough to feel the spiritual implication of what I was seeing. This was so ancient and so dark. This was literally, oh gosh, probably in 2017, I had this dream. But literally everything we've talked about throughout all these years and right now, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is the moment I'm supposed to share this dream. So there you go.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a
the Bible
being,
says
which
that women will dream dreams.
And I know I was talking to a being like an angel, but you couldn't see it. And I believe it was the Archangel Michael, because the Archangel Michael is the one that hands the key to Satan for the bottomless pit. But it repeated 3 times. Instead of answering my question, this being is like, nope, you're going to see this exact sequence 2 more times. So it's just, wow.
Well, it's sure quite the quinky dink, ain't it?
Right?
Mm-hmm. This is a list of comments. Matter of fact, they've updated this list in the last few minutes. But anyways, this is the NEO chart, their chart where they claim where they know where all the rocks at in space, okay? Sound like me know where all the rocks are at in my head. And there is a specific one that they found 3 days ago, and they named it 25WM4, and it was found 3 days ago.
3 days?
Yeah, imagine that. They found it 3 days ago, and it was found by JPL3, which is the heliocentric blah blah blah. The JPL3 found it 3 days ago, and they say it is about the size of, what was it? No, we're talking fantasy here, okay? But they say it is 13 meters to 29 meters in diameter, okay? And supposedly somewhat rare event. And then they said that they believe that it's going to come very close to, well, they say it's going to be closer to us than the moon, is what they're happen. It's hard to explain these things because I know that I'm talking fantasy when I'm reading their stuff, because none of this stuff is real exactly, okay? But it says 0.683 lunar distances. That's, even in their fantasy model, that's pretty close, right? And they have a condition code on this rock. Condition code on it of 7. The condition code is, it says orbit uncertainty estimate 0 to 9, with 0 being good, meaning they really know, and 9 being highly uncertain, meaning they don't have a clue. And they've given this one a 7. And it might not mean nothing. I mean, the show might not mean anything compared to what they're actually up to. But I really don't believe that, or I wouldn't be doing this show. And we've talked about the subject matter of things that are going to be coming down from the heavens. Some of it will be complete deception. And then you have also the supernatural things that are foretold that will come, and that will be decreed by our Father in heaven to happen, just like what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. Probably was a pretty bad day in Sodom and Gomorrah.
I have a question for you.
Okay, I don't know if I have an answer, but I'll give it a shot.
And now I lost it. That's okay. Boy. It'll come back. It's cool.
You figure that out. And I am going to pull up. No, I don't want to see.
Oh, no.
That was a waste of time. Did you get it again?
No.
Oh boy, I think we must be getting old or tired or something other. Because what is that?
I just got too much on the noggin, man.
I know
too
how you
much.
Feel. I know exactly how you feel.
I will say this, right? I'm curious because in that dream, I obviously emphasized like this ancient land. And I do find it fascinating that just as of recently, they have admitted there is another continent that is under the ocean close by, close.
I mean, most of the land that were under the oceans were at one point above the waters.
Right.
I mean,
it's just interesting.
Easy to prove that was the case at one time. You see,
old ancient maps, they call it the land of Jesus, which I find interesting.
The land of Jesus?
Yeah,
and it's I've ever heard of that one.
Yeah, it's in the Pacific Ocean, so it's like right by California, and like the whole Ring of Fire area, there's a landmass under there. and they've now called it an official continent. And it's very interesting. If any of you know about Lumeria or Mu, there's
Lemuria.
ties. Yeah, that Mu is just like another version of Lumeria. But yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot to that. But I just thought, is this ancient land maybe in that area? Because that's in the ocean, and Wormwood is going to go into the ocean. I don't know.
Well, we don't know, but we're all very curious. We all want to know and think we'd like to know what's really going to happen, but I don't know. I mean, what would we do if we really knew the day that something terrible was going to happen? I mean, I don't know if it'd be good or bad to really know, I mean, talking about distant lands, this thing, probably next Wednesday, I'm going to do my live next Wednesday. It's going to be on this subject again. And I'm going to pull all the documents that surround all the communication that went down about this area being at the north, in the center of the world, and it being like a giant tree stump and it had 4 rivers running in, just like our heart does, and just like our brain does.
Is this landmass that's kind of like at the bottom of where it kind of points at the bottom right here? You know where I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Well, right here.
Right there.
Is that? Yeah, but like next to it, this guy. Yeah, that guy. Is that Greenland? What is that? What is
Greenland?
Oh my goodness! I've been kind of obsessively studying Greenland lately.
We just thought about buying Greenland.
Yes, exactly. And the Danish owned it for a long time until just recently. They kind of still do, but it's now its own place. But there's so many laws about that. And what's fascinating is there's this big portion, right, that it's all ice. You can't really inhabit it.
So
but
here's Iceland here.
Oh, yeah. But what's interesting, right, is remember a while back ago, and I think we showed some of these pictures on our show, but Google Earth, there was some people who had found on Greenland in that section, and that's uninhabitable, the Mars rover and like the Mars stuff.
One time I found it.
Well, you found there was another guy a while back ago who also had mentioned
for being
it.
the first person to find it. I'm saying I did find it.
Yes, you did find it. And I know we showed those pictures on there, but that's what I like, that whole uninhabited area in there. That is a lot of what it looks like the Mars terrain. Come on, guys. Like, you just add a red tint to it, and it's like...
Oh yeah, they even had the rover there riding around, in the
we
photos.
Found Mars.
And it said on the side of the van that was sitting out there in this place that looked like Mars, according to the images they show us, right? And it said Mars, NASA Mars project. It's like, really? You really need to bring the rover out here to drive it around so you learn how to drive it on Mars.
And again, we wanted to buy it, right? So, and Elon is so into going to Mars, and I'm like, well, we already found it. It's here. It's on Earth.
So a little preview for y'all guys. I will be going back into this map, into the Black Rock talk, and the fact that this looks like our eye, and it also looks like a giant tree stump. See, because these are all mountains around the edges, but this area in here are plains, and it's like very high plains. Like, what am I looking for? Mesa, or something like that is what these are.
Does anybody know when they changed over on the maps that there's no landmass now there and it's just water? Do you know when they changed that?
I don't, but I would imagine it was around the time when this map, assuming this is a real map, because I haven't been there, so I can't swear to it. But I find a lot of things
But
symbolically interesting about it. But yeah, I don't know when that was.
Because growing up, even with the globes in our classrooms, there was a landmass up at the North Pole depicted on it, but now it's just water when you look it up.
Yep. And on the globes, though, there was a circle. Well, a circle that about like this kind of a circle.
Right.
Just what we're looking at right here. There's always right on top of the globe, so you couldn't see what was in the very center right there. I always found that interesting, too. And, but yeah, we'll be diving back into this on Friday, guys. So not Friday, next Wednesday. I'll be more in depth in looking at this and reading some of the old letters that supposedly exist and all this and trying to understand it, trying to make some sense out of all of it, you might say. Well, I think we are going to wrap it up, guys. And I want to thank Roxy for being in the comments quite a bit. And of course,
Roxy.
I especially want to recognize that I forgot to recognize Miss Kim when we got the show rolling today.
How dare you?
I'll probably get beat for that later. Probably shouldn't just mention it that I did forget. But we got sidetracked. That's my excuse. But thank you to Super Dave, Super Mike for being here as well in the comments and helping out. And most importantly, thank you to y'all guys that are here listening and watching, because y'all guys are truly the most important thing going on here. And I am greatly honored and appreciate it so much that y'all guys are seeking truth. Not like we showed you any grand truth today, but y'all guys are seeking truth, and you're not out there on the internet looking for entertainment, because you didn't find any here probably today. So I greatly appreciate the viewers, because ultimately y'all guys truly are the foundation of what we're doing here. So thank y'all guys very much. And you said you and Roxy are going to be live tomorrow, you think?
Yes, I am not sure exactly what time as of yet. We are to discuss this later when she finally gets home and settled. But we're going to try and get something out there, just because, again, I couldn't be on yesterday, and I have a big job coming up starting on Monday, so I will be gone for 3 days. Okay. I'm sorry, guys, but we will do tomorrow, and then we'll be back on Thursday again next week at our normal regular time.
All right. And
somebody owes us an interview on the natural man's law stuff, so we got to get that going. Because I promised my audience.
One way or another,
just saying.
Okay. We'll work it out one way or another. Not that I'm an expert on it, to be quite honest. I just know it's all fiction.
But you have a lot of information, so it will be good to discuss with you.
All right. We'll get it done. A couple of other little small updates. We've got a couple of people that we are onboarding onto the Supernatural.Show network. Yes, network. What we're going to do is try to come together as the body of Christ and work together instead of all of us being independent out there. And I've chosen to put it upon me to do all this extra work of not like I'm the only one that's going to be doing any extra work, but to try to organize it and pull it together. And we've got several people that are already lined up coming on. And y'all guys will find out a lot more information about some of that coming very soon. And we'll open the door for some more people soon enough. So I'm not really promoting it or saying go look at this page on the website yet, although it's already there, one of them anyways. But we'll let you know soon, okay? And don't forget to send us your testimonies, your supernatural stories, things that have happened to you in your life. It don't matter how crazy they are. All that matters is that they're true and they happen to you. We'd love to hear them, even just no matter what. I enjoy reading that kind of thing. So please let us know your supernatural stories. Doesn't matter if you've seen like with me, seen angels. Maybe you've seen Bigfoot. Maybe you've seen, maybe you were in a car crash and you should have been dead. Maybe it could be anything. Whatever happened to you, we want to hear it. And with that, we love you. And we'll see you next time here on the Supernatural Show, which will be Monday. If nothing crazy don't happen this weekend, because then we'll be back as soon as we could. Otherwise, we'll see you Monday. And Roxy and Shannon, we'll see you tomorrow at what time? One more time, Shannon? You don't know exactly because you got to organize it with Roxy, and she's been moving, and she's probably about war slam out. But anyways, they'll be live tomorrow at some point, and I'll see y'all guys on Monday. I love you. Goodbye-bye for now.